Ladies and gentlemen, Congressman Massie.
Man, you're going to make me go after the 4 best speakers tonight. This is good. Listen, have any of you seen the commercials against me? Raise your hands. Yeah, my mom saw them too. She saw them on the Crime Channel. I said, Mom, why are you watching the Crime Channel? People who are thinking about doing crime watch the Crime Channel to figure out how not to get caught. She said, I would tell you, son, that you might have to testify against me. But anyways, it's, these commercials that are running, they're paid by 3 billionaires. It's called, at the end of the ad, they have to tell you who's running the ad. The end of the ad says, paid for by MAGA Kentucky. It's not Kentuckians, I can tell you that. It's 3 billionaires have funded all of these ads. One is Miriam Adelson. She's from Las Vegas and some casinos. And the other 2 are hedge fund managers from West Palm Beach and New York City. Why would 3 billionaires spend millions of dollars against a congressman in Kentucky? I can tell you this, dogs do not bark at parked cars. It's because I am changing the narrative in Washington, D.C. There are congressmen up there, nobody ever knows their name. They might be there 10 or 20 years. But I have made a name not for being difficult, but for being principled. And I have the respect of my colleagues, and I can change opinion up there. And there are a few people upset about that. I'll tell you what the billionaires have in common. They are all mad at me because I will not vote for foreign aid. I believe we need to spend our money here in America. So what's a few million to them, Well, here's the fun part. They've been looking for 5 months and they can't find a candidate. They are looking for a warm body. Why would somebody not do this? It sounds like a great proposition. 3 billionaires are going to spend $20 million to get you elected. Do you want to be owned by 3 billionaires? Let me tell you what the 3 billionaires stand for. They have all given to pro-abortion Democrats. One of them did a fundraiser for Chuck Schumer. One of them donated the max donation to Liz Cheney after she voted to impeach Donald Trump. And one of them, funny enough, is in Epstein's Black Book. Wonder why he wants to spend money against me. These are the billionaires who, they aren't really Republican or Democrat. They're part of the Uniparty. Whoever's in power, that's who they give the money to. That's who their friends are, and they look out for their friends. And they've been politically connected, and they have a lot of influence in Washington, D.C., but I don't think they're going to be able to fool people in Kentucky. I don't think they're going to have any influence here. And they're going to try, though. So I'm standing here not running against 3 other candidates. I'm standing here running against 3 billionaires until they can find somebody who can fog a glass. And I'm going to ask for your vote. Let me talk a little bit about some of the stuff going on in Washington, D.C., because I'm already elected. And I guess you could say I'm part of the problem, but the reality is I'm fighting the problem. This is my voting card. Okay? I said it's my voting card. It's actually your voting card because we're a republic, not a democracy. So you all vote for a U.S. representative. 750,000 people control this card. This is your card. I put it in a machine and I vote every week. I've voted probably 7,000 times now. And when I put that card in there, there's a button, there's 40 of these machines. You press yay and nay. It's an electronic card. And you press yay and nay. I said they should relabel the button spend and don't spend. And I get in trouble for pressing the don't spend button all the time. Well, one day I pulled this card out of my wallet because I thought it was my credit card, and I gave it to a waitress to pay for my meal. She took it and she swiped it and she chipped it and she tapped it and the card did not work. It was a dark restaurant. I couldn't tell what was going on. She came back and I demanded to know, because I'm one of these people that pays the bill as soon as it shows up. I don't want to give them any interest. I said, why was it rejected? And she showed me my voting card. She said, sir, it's already got $37.5 trillion on it. That's the problem that we have up there. And that's the other thing they're upset about. I didn't vote for the big bill. Is it because I don't like tax cuts? No. Two of the bills inside of the big bill are my bill. The no tax on tips and the reducing tax on seniors. Those are bills I introduced a long time ago. I would love to lower those taxes. Am I against the other tax cuts that were renewed from 2016 and 2017? No, I voted for those tax cuts too. I'll tell you what I am against. Once they get a bill that is so popular and they know it's going to pass, every lobbyist in Washington, D.C., and everybody who wants to spend money attaches their thing to the bill and spends more money with that bill. There are hundreds of billions of dollars of new spending in that big bill. I would love to stand here and tell you that we can cut your taxes and raise spending and things are going to be just fine. But I am not going to lie to you. I will not tell you that. It is not going to be fine. I used to say that the debt is going to fall on our grandkids. No, that's what they want you to believe. You are paying for the debt in the form of inflation and higher interest rates every day. We are monetizing this debt. It doesn't look like we're printing money for ourselves because we loan money to banks that is created out of thin air, and then the banks loan it back to us, so we're monetizing our debt. That is why your dollar is worth 20% less than it was 4 years ago. And because of this bill, unfortunately, it's going to go down another 20% in the next 4 years. That is the real tax. The real tax is inflation. So that is why I didn't vote for it. And then this continuing resolution is going to be in the news here in the next few days because Washington, D.C. loves to create these crises, right? Like there's going to be a shutdown here on September 30th. Why is there a shutdown? We control both branches of Congress. We control the White House. Why didn't we do 12 separate spending bills in a fiscally responsible manner? Well, we didn't. And guess what we're facing? A continuing resolution. What does that mean? It means we're going to continue the exact same spending we did last year. Who was the president last year? Joe Biden was the president last year. This continuing resolution is a continuation of the exact same spending on every line item in that budget at exactly the same levels. The stuff that Doge found, that we did rescissions in, they're putting it all back in. It's the USAID, the woke programs, the DEI, all the stuff that got cut with the Doge rescissions going back in on September 30th. And the Republicans want to create a $2 trillion deficit, and the Democrats want to create a $3 trillion deficit, and they may get together and decide they're going to do a $2.5 trillion deficit. There were 2 no votes in the House. I was one of them. There was 1 Republican no votes. There was 1 no vote in the Senate. It was Rand Paul. And you may say, okay, well, what's your solution, Congressman Massie? You can't just complain about everything. Rand and I have been offering the penny plan since we got there. We say just cut everything 1%. You don't have to eliminate all the funding for all the projects. You don't have to eliminate all the funding for any project. Just cut a little bit of spending every year, and in a few years, it'll balance. And we always offer that. And guess what? They do not want to cut spending in Washington, D.C. They're not serious about it. So I want to wrap up by talking about somebody who's already been spoken about very eloquently and respectfully already, Charlie Kirk. When he was just getting started with this turning point thing, I looked a lot younger. And so I was good to go to these campuses and speak to these, as I got older, he had less appetite to have me come to the turning point events on campus. But I went to them whenever he asked me to, and then I went on his show whenever he asked me to go on his show, and I went back and watched some of the interviews after he was murdered. I went back and watched some of the interviews, and one of them really struck me. He was worried about my safety, not his own safety. I'm going to play this for you.
Congressman Thomas Massie. Congressman, this might sound like a strange question, but I know it's on everybody's mind. You're going to be on the committee that will oversee the most powerful institutions on the planet, the FBI, the CIA, maybe the IRS. Are you concerned for your own safety and or what they might try to do to blackmail you? We know the intel agencies have files on every lawmaker that might become disagreeable. This is not some sort of tinfoil hat conspiracy theory. I'm sure this has crossed your thoughts.
So, he knew the gravity of of his own situation. He could have done these things inside, but he refused to be silenced. And I think that's the way that we honor him. The 4 candidates who showed up here tonight, who are going all over the state, and they're not being intimidated. They are spreading a conservative message. They're spreading a message about Christ. They are spreading a fiscal conservative message. And that is what Charlie Kirk would want us to keep doing. That's why when Rand Paul and I toured the 4th District this week, we did 9 stops. And there were cameras at every stop. And why were there cameras? Because they couldn't believe we were doing all of this, that we were going outside, that we were doing this in the wake of this tragedy. Because the Republican leadership in Washington, D.C. told us in the House to quit having town halls. They said it's too dangerous, that you should just do your Zoom shows and all that stuff. But I don't think any of us should be silenced. And my hat is off to the 4 candidates who came out here tonight to speak to you. There's no way to make any of this completely safe. But they are here spreading a conservative message, and that is why I am here, and that is why I'm asking for you to vote for me again. I would be pleased to represent you. I say this, and this is what my colleagues, even Democrats or Republicans in the House, say. And I hear this from a lot of constituents. We don't agree with you all the time. But we know you believe in what you are doing. And I do believe in what I'm doing, and I am trying to represent you. I don't give that voting card to the leadership. I don't give that voting card to the president. I don't even give that voting card to the Freedom Caucus. That voting card belongs to all of you, and if you send me back, I'll vote for you and nobody else. Thank you, and God bless.